Right, folks, this is a new podcast from the Two Mics, and I'm going to give you old Energy Boy, MG, to introduce it.
Yeah, we've edited out all the nonsense from Mike Porky Parry, so it might be a bit shorter than usual.
Ha, 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 ha. It's a lifestyle choice for me to be obese, right? No, it is. And if other people want to be obese, they will get the bricks and the outrageous stones and arrows of
outrageous fortune.
Of outrageous fortune should hit them.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham, and it's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah, very good morning to you as well, Mike. A lot of important stories for us to talk about tonight.
Yes.
Why you
Are you all right, by the way? You seem to have a little catch in your throat or something.
There is a very important story here which we've got to discuss immediately, and I'm sure that our millions of listeners will say this, comes top of the agenda by a mile.
Okay.
And this is because...
You're right, there's a lot of good stories around.
This is the important story.
Okay, tell me.
People who take a drug called digoxin for an irregular heartbeat are almost a third more likely to die.
Digoxin?
Digoxin,
right.
Digoxin.
Right.
To die than those on other treatments, according to research which shows that a heart drug taken by 250,000 Britons can actually hasten death. Right?
Are you on some kind of death trip this week? I mean, yesterday...
What does that say?
That says dioxygen tablets.
Digoxin.
Digoxin tablets.
This is the one that's killing people.
And why have you got them then?
I've been taking it for 10 years. Oh, you think that's funny, do you? You think that's funny?
Well, it's taking its time, isn't it?
What are you laughing for?
Well, you should write to these people and say your survey's absolute rubbish. I've been taking it for 10 years.
This
I'm
must
still
be
alive.
worth about $100 million, mustn't it, in damages if they've been given this drug that's...
Well, no, because you're not dead.
Well, no,
I mean, obviously, you've been managed. You're the one person that's managed to survive.
But
what have they done a survey with 250,000 people and they've all died?
No, they say patients with heart failure who take the drug are a fifth more likely to die. I mean, this speeds up your death.
Well, I think you might have a word with your doctor.
Yeah, I think I better have as well. Only 1/3 of my heart works, and this is supposed to make my heart stronger. Well, you find this very funny, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
So speeding to,
you're obviously fine.
To mortality.
You've been taking it for 10 years, so it's obviously no problem, is it?
The British Heart Foundation said the study, the largest of its kind, clearly showed that patients taking digoxin, this is the drug we're talking
let's
about,
have a look at that box,
have an increased risk of dying. It said they should not stop taking it, but speak to their GP.
I think you better do that.
I think I better add
ASAP.
Let's
see what it says.
Mm.
To be taken as directed by a physician.
Yeah.
Please read the enclosed leaflet carefully before use.
It's a beta blocker.
Have you read the enclosed leaflet?
I've never read the enclosed leaflet.
Oh, you want to have a look at the enclosed leaflet and see what it says.
It says it strengthens and slows the heartbeat and is used in atrial fibrillation, in which the heart beats quickly and erratically, and congestive heart failure, in which a weak heart struggles to pump blood around the body.
Right.
Well, that's what I've been fighting for 10 years.
Well, there's no leaflet inside here.
I've probably thrown it away, because it's difficult to get the tablets out when there's a leaflet in the top, so I always throw it away.
You should have read it, I would have thought.
Well, I've never read it. That's dreadful. I mean,
How many of these do you take a day then?
Only one of those.
Just one?
But I take 4 carvedilol, which is another beta blocker.
Right.
Be telling me next that's going to kill me as well.
Me.
This is not very good.
This is not good news. But anyway. I'm a bit worried. I mean, you do seem a bit preoccupied with health at the moment.
Well,
I mean, yesterday you were talking about people's liver. The day yesterday you were also talking about all sorts of perils that you could face and things. Well,
no perils that you can face because your lifestyle.
But I'm fine.
My concern is
I'm
more
not taking
for you. You've got 2 young children.
Yeah, but I'm not taking heart attack medicine.
Sorry?
I'm not taking heart attack medicine that could kill me.
No,
You're the one doing that.
No, I'm not. I'm taking heart attack medicine, which should be saving me. But according to this report, which has come out of the blue, my mother will have read this. She'll be frantic with worry.
Will she?
Frantic.
Yeah.
And
well, I would get down to the GPs pretty sharpish in the morning if I were you.
I think you're right.
And have a word. Take a copy of this report and say, what about all this then?
Yeah, last night, Dr. Mike Napton, Associate Medical Director of the British Heart Foundation, described the research as important, but urged people, like me, for instance, don't panic. Oh, no, OK. A new report says this is killing me. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic.
He said the advice to patients is that digoxin is still a recommended and useful drug. All drugs have benefits and some have side effects. A lot of cancer drugs are very toxic.
Well, this is the trouble with reading all of these reports. I mean, if you read all these reports, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. You'd be so worried about all the various things that could happen to you.
Yeah, talking about getting out of bed in the morning, by the way. I get out of bed this morning.
Yeah.
I'm met by a barrage of Twitter information, emails, texts, you name it, from people.
On your information device?
On my information device, which stands proudly by my bed to alert me to what's happening in the world. That nobody can find today's podcast. Now, that is...
Yeah, the wrong podcast was uploaded in error.
Well, what did you do wrong?
I didn't do anything wrong.
What do you mean? It's
seem
your
to have-
responsibility.
No, it's not my responsibility,
It
okay?
is.
I don't know where you get this from.
Yeah.
My responsibility, as I pointed out to many people on Twitter, is to make sense of all the nonsense that you spout over the 2 hours that you're here. That's my job, right? Your job is to come here and spout nonsense, and then somebody else's job behind the scenes is to edit down the podcast and send it out.
You have
every
overall
morning.
responsibility.
And occasionally, the
Yeah.
podcast gets
Yeah.
uploaded in the wrong way, or occasionally a mistake gets made. And it's nothing to do with me.
Unless I've got this terribly wrong,
Yeah.
when we look at the 24-hour programming schedule on TalkSport, it says between the hours of 1 and 6, you're responsible for the output, OK?
Yes, while I'm here, yes.
I come to boost
The
your show
podcast
and make
is not sent out during
make
those
it
hours.
300% better for 2 hours in the
It's
middle.
true, you do that,
but,
yeah.
but it's your
Thank
job.
you so much.
It's your job to get it out, and you don't get it
No,
out.
it's not my job to get it
Therefore,
out.
you take responsibility.
No, I'm afraid-
You're trying to blame one of our highly trained technicians behind the glass there or something.
No, I don't blame anybody because, unlike you, if something does
don't
go
know.
wrong, I don't mind taking responsibility for it. But you must understand that it is not my job to do it.
Not my job. How many times have you heard that in the British industry? Not my job. They're called jobs worse.
Well,
you know.
why isn't your job? I
It's
mean,
not
you've
worth
got nothing
my
else
job.
to do. You leave here at 4 o'clock. You're doing nothing else. Why don't you sit there and send it out?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
A, I don't have the technical skills, so I don't even try to pretend to like
Right.
you do.
I don't
And
pretend to.
secondly, I've got another life outside of here, mate,
Really?
which I have to get on with
Is that
and
right?
sort things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm obviously busier than you because I'm here for an extra, as you pointed out, an extra 3 hours. So,
Yeah, but
you
it
know.
doesn't look. The drivel you spout in the 3 hours you're on your own doesn't take
Charming.
It doesn't take intense research, knowledge gathering processes.
Listen, I'll be talking about some very important sporting stories, okay?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be talking about Barcelona against Real Madrid.
Barcelona.
Not against Real Madrid, against Bayern Munich, actually. I'll be talking about
Barcelona.
Bayern Munich and whether they're going to have Pep Guardiola go and do the business. I'll be talking about, and we'll be talking about Newcastle a little bit later on as well.
Yes, we will indeed.
And I apologise to anyone who was inconvenienced by the
Well,
late
we're
podcast.
massively inconvenienced, and I was getting all the stick.
No, I was as
Because
well.
people see me as a leading light of this production.
In error, yeah, in error.
No. I'm getting all the stick, and it's nothing to do with me.
Speaking of this production...
It's the only thing I rely on you to do from the show, and you're just
listen
not
to you.
doing it, you know?
Listen to you.
Hey? Well, no.
Anyway,
sorry, I'm
now,
getting shirty about
now
it.
let's talk about something which is more exciting.
Failure does make people
talking about
shirty.
this production. Something else that you're not responsible for.
Oh, yes.
Is we have a new website.
This is wonderful news. I love it. It's down to Mr. Levine. Thank you very much indeed for putting it together. We've just put a little bubble of video onto the website. Oh, no, where have we put it?
We put it onto YouTube. But it's
Onto
also
YouTube, that's right.
But
Put
it's
it on
on
YouTube.
But that's Two Mics TV.
Yes, that's right. It's on that. That's right. And that's to introduce you to the new website. The new
Yeah.
website contains just about all the information you need about me. And
It hasn't got all the information everybody needs about you.
No, it has.
There's going to be more information probably to be uploaded
Well,
because there's some gaps in the information on there about you.
And there is a bit of information about you as well, because we thought that's only fair to let people know.
Well, it
that
is
you
called the Two Mics.
at least exists.
And what's the address? Do you remember?
Yes, it is. It's no, hang on. Are you talking about the Twitter handle here or the address?
No, I'm talking about the address of the website.
The address of the website is the2mics.co.uk.
Well done. Excellent.
Thank you.
Fantastic. That's exactly what it is.
The2mics.co.uk. I remembered, first time.
And more importantly, he's so happy now. More importantly, I should also say that if you go on there, you can find out where all our live dates are. There'll be links to all the various theatres up and down the country where we're going to be performing at some point during the summer. And also, what I want to tell people is because a lot of people send in on Twitter loads of really funny pictures of the two of us. Various things have been photoshopped. If you send those, continue to send those at the Two Mics, we might be able to put some of those up on the website as well.
Absolutely, yes, quite excellent. And the whole idea is for us to be able to communicate with the millions of listeners who we cherish and admire enormously in the easiest fashion possible. Because I do think that old MG is sometimes a little bit idle in responding to you when you're so kind as to get hold of us and keep us in touch with your lives. With your lives.
You're not taking too many of these
as well as our lives being shared with your lives.
Talking absolute gibberish. Now, I'll tell you what I thought when I was watching the football last night.
Oh, you had a thought, did you?
Yeah, I did have a thought.
Blimey,
Yeah. I thought, isn't it a shame that all these players like Carlos Tevez and Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale and even Patrice Evra aren't playing in the Premier League anymore? I had this terrible feeling of all these great players not playing in England.
Yeah. Well, they never have done. Players at
What
the
do you mean
peak,
they never have done?
Players at the peak of their power in Europe have
What, so
never.
Cristiano
played
Ronaldo
in
has never played in England?
He wasn't at his peak. He's at his peak now.
He was pretty good.
He was very good. I agree. But at the peak of their careers, nobody like Messi or Ronaldo or Ronaldinho ever came to this country. For some unknown reason, they stay in Spain, Italy, or Germany, they don't come here.
No, they do come here, and they have played here. Patrice Evra played for Manchester United.
Yes, I know he did, but the problem is they only come here for 1 or 2 seasons when they're really established as a top
played
European
for Manchester
player.
United and Manchester City.
Yes, I know, but what I'm saying is when they're at their absolute peak, when they're in the world-class
He
team...
was in a world-class...
No, I don't think he was.
He was playing more for Argentina when he played here than he does now.
I don't think he was. By the way, do you not think he's filled out and he looks like the gigantic Hulk or whoever he was
Well, you know what, the gigantic Hulk?
The Hulk, wasn't it? Was it?
The Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk, that's right, yeah.
No, not really, no.
Same
I mean,
thing.
you know, when he scored that penalty and he celebrated and he had his fist in the air, it reminded me of Maradona at Naples, actually.
Yeah, it did a bit, yeah. He seems to have got over-tattooed a bit as well, I think, as well, which isn't a good thing. I need to talk to you next about the fact that I think I'm being tracked by the cops.
Well, I'm not surprised considering the number of confessions you've made over the last couple of months.
No, there's an allegation I've stolen a loaf of bread.
A loaf of bread?
Yeah, from Sainsbury's.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, did you steal a loaf of bread from Sainsbury's?
No, I didn't.
Well, we'll find out what the story's all about because it's we're running out of time. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. We'll find out more about Porky's criminal. Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He is Mike. What are you looking at me like that for?
Well, I want to know what this record is.
It's the Fun-Loving Criminals. Have you heard of them?
Fun-Loving Criminals.
Yeah.
So this is aimed at me, obviously.
Not aimed at you, no.
Yes, it is.
I never thought of that, actually.
Oh, what do you mean?
I
see. Being
like
accused of stealing a loaf and the Fun-Loving Criminals have no connection whatsoever.
Well, not one that I would have made, no. But, I mean, obviously, if you're feeling particularly paranoid. By the way, we had a lot of Twitter action yesterday, not just about the podcast, but also about winners and losers. Some people said that what we should do is allow the vote to continue running while the show is over, so that when people listen to the podcast the next day, they can also vote in winners and losers.
But
so,
you always close it down when you've bent the minds of the audience.
No, so I let it run.
Right, good.
And I've got the result for you here.
Yeah, go on then.
It's retweets from Mike Parry, 47. Favourites for me, 57.
Rubbish.
So I've won.
You see, half of those figures not being recorded.
Yeah, I've won. They're all there.
No,
it's there in black and white.
Thousands more people want to get involved than that.
It's there in black and white.
No.
Anyway, so the new rule now for winners and losers is that we won't close it off at the end of the show on a Monday night. Right? What we'll do is we'll let it run all the way through Tuesday until Tuesday night, and then we'll announce the winner on the Tuesday night show.
Okay,
but that's 3-0 to me, just so you know.
No, it's
3-0 to me.
You've corrupted and bent it. When I used to do it with the other chap, Toby, I won every week. Consistently.
Yeah, well, he's not as good as me.
Oh, well, no. I think it's because you're in charge of pulling the levers and the buttons.
It's open to public vote. How can I gerrymander that?
I want to show you this receipt, please. I want you to tell the audience what it says.
This receipt here, right.
You have to snatch it out of my hand, like some petulant child.
King's Mill White Medium.
That's right, yeah.
Why did you have to buy that sort of bread?
Well, on the way home last night,
Why don't you buy some decent bread?
Hang on.
This is like bread that they make in a factory.
It's very good bread.
Thousands of miles away. They ship it in a lorry.
And
it's about as fresh as you are.
So anyway, I decided I fancied sausage butties for breakfast.
Sausage butty, right.
Yeah. So
did you have some sausages at home already?
I've got sausages at home.
Right.
So I decided I didn't have any bread.
Right.
Because the previous day I'd been eating croissants.
Oh, right.
And I only buy enough croissants to eat. I don't, store them or freeze them. No.
Really?
Of course not. No, croissants. No, you're mad. Anyway,
hang on. You freeze beans on toast on a plate in the freezer.
Well, that's different. That's more mechanical.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying is I decided as I drove past a 24-hour Sainsbury's to nip in.
Right.
So I go in.
Why not?
But the debate has been raging over the last 2 or 3 weeks about how useful these self-service tills are.
Oh, yeah, the self-checkout.
And instead of and in fact, Morrison's, just to name one big chain, are saying they're going to introduce another 1,000 manned checkouts because they're much more customer friendly.
Yeah.
And the other ones, they don't work.
Or even womaned as well.
Womaned, yeah, exactly. So anyway, the problem is at 5 o'clock in the morning in a Sainsbury's, a 24-hour Sainsbury's, there are no manned...
So was this one that was attached to a petrol station or just one on its own?
No, it was in fact just on the edge of London, going out Streatham way, And so I go in and I get it. Now, this is the problem I have all the time with these self-service ones. You click the barcode on the wrapping of the bread over the glass window.
Yeah.
And it goes beep.
That's right.
And then you have
to see it on the screen.
See it on the screen, and then it says put it in the delivery area.
Bagging area, yeah.
Bagging area, that's it, yeah. So I put it in the bagging area, right? That's all I wanted. So I hit all the buttons, finish, thank you, da-da-da.
You pay cash?
Pay cash.
Right.
Got the change
£1.45
out of my pocket. I put £1.
Says you paid £1.50.
Exactly, I got 5p change.
Got 5p change.
Right, so I do all that, and I thought, that's good. And then I thought, I think I will have one of those orange bags, a Sainsbury bag.
Yeah.
So I pull a Sainsbury bag out from the bagging area, but it won't come out because the loaf's in the way.
Right.
So I pick the loaf up and I put it back on where the glass screen is.
This is after you've paid?
After I've paid.
Well, that should have been all right.
No, because the barcode was still on the bottom, and it clicked again, and 145 came up and said pay.
Well, that shouldn't have happened.
Well, it did.
Well, you must have had a rogue machine.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, so I thought, well, hang on, I can't walk out now because this says I owe £1.45.
Well, of course you can.
No, even though I don't.
Yeah.
So I then went to try and find somebody literally who understood the problem, and there was nobody in there.
No.
There were a lot of people in there stacking shelves.
Was there not somebody like behind a till? Or
no,
something?
nobody behind a till. There was no supervisor. I don't know whether he'd gone for his break or something or whatever, but there were only people stacking shelves who either didn't know about the problem, didn't want to know about the problem, or didn't speak good enough
You're like
English.
a walking disaster zone, aren't you?
No, I'm not. So anyway, so I then get my loaf and I think, I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to leave this store. CCTV will pick me up. There will be 145 on the
machine.
machine.
You've only got one loaf and you've got a receipt for one loaf.
Well, that's why I kept the receipt, because I'm smarter than the average bear.
Right.
And I thought, if I get stopped on the way home now down to Surrey by a wah, 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 that's right, a police car, right?
So, you mean if I destroy this receipt and they catch up with you, you won't have any proof, will you?
No, none at all. What are you doing?
I'm tearing up your receipt.
You maniac.
Do you remember the time you tore up my parking ticket and I had to pay an extra fee because you torn it up and said I didn't have to pay it?
That's because you were a monstrous
There you go.
That's
There's your receipt in the bin.
That's marvellous.
They'll be coming for you now.
That's really...
You'll have no evidence.
Oh, I mean, that's really friendly, isn't it? Eh? I'm going to have to rescue that from the bin and try and just start to take it back together again.
No. If they come looking for you,
So
don't worry, I'll admit that I tore it up. This is what you said to me.
disgrace.
You said to me, oh, don't worry, if they say you've lost the original ticket and they fine you more money, I'll just tell them to talk to me and I'll admit that I tore it up.
I don't know, honestly. You know, sometimes you have a friend, sometimes you don't. Listen, I'll tell you what I found out as well, talking about revelations and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what the real truth is about the conversion of St. Paul on the road to Damascus?
What?
I do.
What?
I've been studying it for some time.
Why?
And I've come across evidence now which helps me understand. In fact, I'm going to share my evidence with some of the foremost theologian scholars of our age.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Where are they coming from then?
Well, because I'll let them know. I'll inform them. What happened was, you know how I told you... Sorry, what do you...
I have no idea why we're talking about this.
Well, I'm telling you because it's a discovery I've made, because I'm a deep reader and a deep thinker.
Was this when you were at church recently?
No. I've always wanted the answer to this question. You know how I discovered that the reason that Moses parted the Red Sea was because of a meeting of tidal pools?
Well, you've made that argument before.
Yeah, I've said.
I'm not sure that anyone's convinced.
Yeah, they are. The Red Sea parted because of two opposing tidal pools which crashed together, so it looked like a wall of...
Or maybe they just never parted.
Like a wall of water.
Or maybe they just never parted.
And then they receded, and Moses led these people into the Promised Land.
Yeah.
Now, what happened on the road to Damascus with St. Paul was there wasn't a conversion. He got hit by a meteorite.
A meteorite?
A meteorite.
I thought he just had some kind of amazing revelation.
No. The meteorite blinded him for 3 days. And then after 3 days, when he was, in Damascus...
So he wasn't hit directly by a meteorite?
He was hit. It was very close. The meteorite landed...
If it had landed on him, he'd be dead, wouldn't he?
It landed very close to him, and in fact it was so bright it seared his eyes. And when he got to Damascus, after 3 days, the damage that had been done to his eyes suddenly fell away, like the scales off his eyes, as written in the Bible, and he could see again, and that was how he became converted on the road to Damascus.
And where's the evidence that there was a meteor strike, then? Is there any holes in the ground that would suggest a meteor
archaeologists and anthropologists think that the meteor strike in AD 35 is exactly timed to St. Paul walking down the road to Damascus.
Really?
In Damascus, let me. I've read my research here. What are you laughing at?
Because I've no idea where you get this stuff from.
Saul fell to the ground. Yeah. Saul was, in fact, St. Peter. His name was Saul.
Oh, no, Saul became Paul, didn't he?
Yeah, that's St. Paul. That's what I say.
You said St. Peter.
Hang on, which one am I talking about? St. Paul. I'm talking about St. Paul's conversion, not St. Peter. St. Peter was the guy who founded the big church in Rome. This is... Oh, was it?
What?
Is it St. Peter's? St. Peter's in Rome, wasn't it?
No, he didn't found the church in Rome.
Well, it's named after him.
Well, it's named after him, yeah. So is St. Peter's Church somewhere else as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's St. Paul is on the road, right. Here, I've got it all written down here. St. Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus... Yeah. Probably the result of being blinded by a large meteoric fireball.
Probably.
Very similar.
The key word there is probably.
Yeah, very similar, by the way. Very similar to the fireball that blazed over Russia at Chelyabinsk in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a conclusion reached by planetary scientists who've been researching it all these years.
So planetary scientists are now trying to explain the various miracles that are in the Bible. That's basically what this has come down to.
It's true.
But I thought you were a great believer in all of that stuff.
It's true. They argue that every detail in the 3 biblical accounts of the Damascene conversion corresponds to a blazing space rock. Saul of Taurus, who later became
St. Paul.
St. Paul, that's it, yeah.
I've seen the time, by the way.
Hang on. This is very, very important.
Well,
this is historical.
Champions League.
It's said to have seen a blinding light shining from the heavens, and then he heard the voice of Jesus crying, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?"
Yeah.
And then
better call Saul.
Dear me, I don't know, honestly. Well, why can't you just give some credence to this research that I do?
Well, how do the scientists explain the voice from the heavens then?
Well, he heard that himself. You don't.
Well, that was a voice in his head.
Yeah, look, if God or Jesus is speaking to you, it doesn't come out of a tannoy speaker, on the top of a mountain or something.
No.
It comes into your head.
Right.
It's not speech. It's osmosis type.
Osmosis.
Yeah. What do you call it?
The Sermon on the Mount.
No. It's like sound vibration type stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the scientists can't explain that. If the scientists are saying it's a meteorite, they can't explain how he heard the voices in his head.
He heard the voices in his head in the same way as when you're lying in bed sometimes, you hear voices yourself advising you. What? Why are you always bursting into laughter?
Because nobody hears voices in their head. Of
course they do.
Unless they're a bit mad.
Don't be ridiculous, you do.
You hear voices in your head every night, do you?
Listen, it's not necessarily a voice, but sometimes I'm in bed and suddenly, I leap out of bed and I think that's the answer, eureka, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like hearing a voice, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've never heard any voices in my head.
It's a eureka moment.
How bizarre. Now, I'm going to ask you about Gareth Bale in a moment. So, I don't know if he's hearing voices in his head, but he's probably hearing some voices he doesn't want to hear. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes General Election Special on Talk Sport. Mike Parry's waistline. Gain. Mike Graham's hairline. Loss. Mike Graham's likelihood of having a coronary. Gain. Mike Parry's wallet. Loss. It's the most exciting election in living memory. You can spend it in the company of some of the most searingly brilliant political minds in the country. Or you can listen to me and Mike Graham here on Talk Sport. Stick to the facts and get back to basics with the UK's most straightforward after-poll party. It's a well-hung parliament of politics, partying and Prosecco. The Two Mikes election night special with the dishonourable members for Talk Sport. Me, Mike Porky Parry, and him, Mike Graham. It's the first time either of them have had an election in 5 years.
Them was, Land of My Fathers?
No.
What's that then?
No, that's the song that they also sing, but that's the Welsh national anthem. You sing it in Welsh.
And what's it called?
I can't remember. It's in Welsh.
What, you mean you can't remember the Welsh national anthem, even though you were in charge of the Welsh edition of the Daily Mirror?
I can't remember exactly what it says in Welsh. It's in Welsh.
What was the title of it?
I'm telling you, it's in Welsh.
Well, it has a translation into English, you know.
Well, I never sang it in English. I used to sing it in Welsh.
Oh, dear me, honestly, what a load of utter nonsense.
But
so you were the editor.
Stirring.
You were the editor.
It's very stirring.
Very stirring. So stirring, you didn't even bother finding out what the title was.
Well, I did know it, but I've forgotten it. I haven't been down there for years.
Oh, and you could sing it in Welsh, could you?
I could, yeah, because I used to put it up in Welsh on the
Well, go on, sing a bit for us now, then.
I can't sing it now.
Why?
No, because I used to be able to sing it because they would put up the words in Welsh, and you could sing them.
You can't pronounce Welsh.
I could.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I could.
I don't believe you.
I had a friend in Wales who used to teach me.
Am I supposed to believe all this nonsense?
I did.
Now, what about, talking about the Welsh, what about Gareth Bale?
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think he's going to stay at Real Madrid, you know.
Why?
Well, did you see him last night? Did you watch the game?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah.
Well, did you see him doing anything?
Well,
he didn't do anything.
So if he has one indifferent game,
he hasn't had one indifferent game
in 2 seasons when he's been outstanding.
No, he's had a very, very indifferent bad patch, which is going on for a long time.
I think what could be the problem is when old Luka Modric comes back, couldn't it? Because then they've got to fit everybody into the team.
Well, that's the first problem. The second problem is, as somebody was talking on TalkSport a little bit earlier on, they said that the problem with Gareth Bale is now when you see him get the ball, he's already nervous because he's looking to pass it to Ronaldo because he's now under so much pressure to make sure that he feeds the ball to Ronaldo that, you know, it's on his mind. And so instead of doing stuff on his own, he's now kind of worried about having to, you know, give some kind of assistance to Ronaldo to score a goal. I think psychologically, he's not going to stay there.
Somewhere over the weekend that in a recent Real Madrid game, Ancelotti, who's the manager who won them the European Cup like less than 12 months ago, brought on bail as a substitute and then got a visit from the president.
Yeah, I saw that in the mail this morning.
To ask why have you done this?
Why have you done this? Yeah. And you wonder why. He didn't get substituted last night till the 86th minute.
That's right, yeah.
And I would have thought you probably should have substituted him a lot earlier than that, because he was not making any inroads at all against Juventus.
Well, I'm not jumping on an anti-Bale bandwagon. The thing is, what they've done is, at Real Madrid, they've allowed the adulation for Ronaldo, who was, of course, dictated the whole policy himself, to just become utterly absurd. I mean, the goal he scored last night, a child of 5 could have scored.
Yeah, well, you have to be there, though.
I totally agree.
I
totally agree. Positionally, you have to be there. Yeah. But he is always there, because that's where he insists that nobody else goes, because he wants to go there, because he wants to score the goal. It's nearest the goal line. And that's what he does. So, I just think that the level now of adoration and worship directed towards to Ronaldo is something that the manager, who of course is Ancelotti, should have done something about. Because
but maybe he's not allowed to. That's the point. Maybe this guy Perez swans around in corridors and says, "Well, I mean, you can't drop Ronaldo, can you?"
No, of course you can't drop Ronaldo, but you can say to the other players, "Look, fellas, you 10 are making a very good contribution as well."
Yeah.
It's not all about Ronaldo. It's not all about piling up on top of him when he taps a ball in from 4 inches, which like he did last night.
Yeah.
But I don't think Bale will leave Real Madrid. I think where would he go if he left Real Madrid?
Chelsea.
Oh, I think he'd probably go to Manchester United. But I think for him to come back from Real Madrid under those circumstances would be a retrograde step in his career.
I'll just mark the time and mark my words and see whether I'm right or not.
If it's for a huge fee, if it's for more than 80 million, it's a step forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it means he's increased his value in Real Madrid. If he comes back for 50 million... not such a good move.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
A couple of tweets to read out to you. John says this: not content with stealing from people in a coma, now Mike Parry's resorted to shoplifting from Sainsbury's.
But I haven't.
Well, I don't know whether you're going to be found guilty now or not.
I had a receipt until about half an hour ago.
Yeah, we haven't got one anymore.
Then some idiot went and tore it up, know.
Now, here's one. David is explaining this. He's going to explain it in several tweets, so you have to bear with me. He says, the self-checkout will only stop yapping until items are paid in full, receipt has been taken, and the item has been removed. Porky's problem was due to activity in the bagging area whilst the bread was placed elsewhere. If Porky tacitly moved the bread in the bagging area to make room for the bag to be picked, as opposed to moving the bread back up to the scanner, the problem would have been avoided. God almighty, that's kind of complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, because the trouble is, there were so many bags, if you see what I mean, and they're on 2 little hooks, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they go from top to bottom, so to speak. There were so many of them, you couldn't get the bread into the bagging area.
Why don't you just put the bag in the bagging area and then put the bread in it?
Because I wasn't going to take a bag initially, and then the loaf turned out to be bigger than I thought, and it was raining outside, so I thought I'll take a bag to keep my loaf dry.
Why couldn't you just carry the loaf? I mean, it's covered in plastic anyway.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like wet loaves.
Well, it wouldn't be wet, would it?
Well, the outside would be wet, and then it might have had a hole in it, might have soaked in, so I decided not to.
You wouldn't notice with that bread anyway.
No, it's very fresh bread, actually.
What, fresh plastic bread?
No, it's not plastic bread.
It's
very
made
nice
like
bread.
Days before.
No, you don't know
in a place hundreds of miles away.
Well, where'd you get your bread from, then?
I buy my bread fresh.
Oh, yeah? Where from?
Yeah, I buy it from whichever bakery I happen to be near, or whichever...
Oh, yeah? Oh, you've got a bakery near you?
I went to Sainsbury's today,
and they,
where they had freshly baked some bread.
Yes.
Right? I went and picked one that was not too warm, because you can't slice it. Went and I said...
and you think that's actually the dough is rolled in the bakery at Sainsbury's and all that?
Well, no, the dough is brought into Sainsbury's, but they actually do bake the bread there.
And it's weeks old, that dough.
No, the dough doesn't matter. It's the baking of the bread that matters, right? And basically, I said to them, look, can you please slice this for me? They sliced it for me. It's a very nice, fresh loaf of bread.
OK, that's fine.
What do you mean that's fine?
That's fine.
That's fine?
That's fine.
Right, OK.
I buy baguettes from the Co-op, which are even fresher.
Well, you didn't buy one yesterday, did you?
No, I didn't, because the Co-op wasn't open at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Do you pay for those, or do you just run out with
them?
them?
No, don't be silly. I buy some at the weekends, and I have them with the old lean ham and cheese and pepper.
Yeah, we may have some food questions coming in the Ask Porky section.
And it's very nutritionally good. Now, listen, I found a cupboard in my house, and it's full of...
Is it in the locked room?
No. I don't have a locked room, you oaf. Telling people that makes me sound like a bit of a weirdo.
So you found a cupboard in your house?
Found a cupboard in my house,
you didn't know it was there?
No, of course I knew it was there, but it was a sort of old-fashioned wall unit, you see.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all glass cupboards at the top, and they've got all my trophies in and my cut glass and all that kind of stuff.
Your trophies?
All my trophies.
How many trophies are there?
Oh, a few. And,
more than 10?
And I very rarely ever bother looking in the sort of the bottom half of it, you know what I mean, where there's cupboards and drawers.
It's like storage stuff, is it?
Like storage stuff, that's right. Anyway, I decided the other day, look, I've got to do something about this, so I opened it, and guess what I found inside?
Don't know.
Oh, over 200 videos.
200 videos?
200 videos, yeah.
I presume Top Gun would be amongst them.
Top Gun is amongst them, you're absolutely right.
It sounds like a pretty big cupboard.
It is a big cupboard. Goes back deeply, you know. And
sounds like another room.
No, it's not a room at all. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm smarter than the average bear, and a couple of years ago, I bought one of these machines that can convert videos onto DVDs, okay?
You actually bought a machine that does it?
I bought a machine that does it.
Really?
Yeah, honest to God, yeah.
What, so you put the VHS thing in?
Yes.
And you get a CD out the other side?
Yes, you do, yeah.
How much was that then?
I don't know, 400 quid or something.
Really?
Yeah, 490 quid, something like that. I'm not sure.
Well, why haven't you converted all the tapes?
Well, because I've never bothered, because I couldn't be bothered, you know. I never really wanted to watch them. But anyway.
So you've never actually used this machine?
No, I haven't used it.
Does it work?
Yeah, it does.
Did you buy it one night from the shopping channel when you were bladdered?
No, not at all. No, I brought it, you know, it came in a big box with all the polystyrene packing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
These things usually do.
Yeah. But anyway, the reason I did that is because I, you know, voraciously read a lot of stuff, and I've discovered that very soon many people will be going out and buying new video machines because the rarity of those videos now is suffice for a demand to be growing again for video machines to play your old videos on.
This is a bit like the vinyl kind of resurgence, isn't it?
It is, indeed.
I mean, I've still got some old VHS tapes, but not very many, to be honest.
Not only have I got the pre-recorded ones, I've got, you know, all the Clint Eastwood films. Yeah. Got, as you say, I've got Top Gun. I've got the original, by the way, Riverdance.
The original Riverdance.
The original Riverdance with Michael Flatley.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. Michael Flatley and Gene Butler.
Yeah.
They didn't like each other, you know.
Didn't they?
Oh, they hated each other.
But haven't you got one of those machines that you can play a VHS tape or a CD on as well? Or
yes, I have, yeah. That's the same machine.
Well, no, it doesn't make DVDs.
No, it does. It converts as well. It does.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you,
you can get a machine that plays a VHS tape or plays a DVD.
Yes, that's right.
You can't say, now make me a DVD.
Oh, yes, it does.
Rubbish.
It does, I'm telling you.
Well, why don't you make one today, then, when you go home?
Yeah.
Put it in there and see if you can make a DVD out of it.
I'm not sure I know how to do it, to be honest. I'd have to get somebody around to show me.
If somebody told you that's what it does, I think you were done.
No, not at all. I've got a leaflet somewhere which says this is how you do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. They came with instructions.
I've never heard of a machine that you can buy, which is basically a video player, which also makes DVDs.
It is. Believe me, Mike. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is, these are now going to become valuable collector's items, right?
Right.
So in the same way as people kept, you know, Abbey Road and Led Zeppelin 3 and all that kind of stuff stored in their attic for years,
right.
These are going to be classics, absolute classics. But it's not only the pre-recorded ones that you used to get from the old video shop that you rented out and used to buy them in Woolworths and all that. I've got probably 2 or 3 dozen Everton videos which I made during the 80s when we were at the height of our power of, you know, golden footage of Everton at their best.
It's probably all on YouTube now, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is.
I bet it is.
And if it is, you can't. It's not very good quality and all that. Mine's top quality, you see. I took great care in recording it all.
I think you should run them through. You should run them through your machine and make a load of DVDs out of them.
Yeah, I think I will.
I think that'll keep you busy on Saturday.
No, I think I will. I think definitely.
Good idea.
I think it's a very good idea as well. I like it.
All right, we're going to read out some more tweets. You can tweet us at the 2 mics. It's Ask Porky coming up in a little while. This is Talk Sport. What that was all about.
Well, who
I'm
did?
the Walrus.
Who did?
Nobody did, really, did they?
I think it was written under the influence of
LSD.
Mind-bending drugs, obviously.
I think so.
Even if his mind wasn't bent when he was singing it, certainly wasn't when he wrote it. And I think he admitted that years later as well. But extraordinary. That and Strawberry Fields Forever were written in the same sort of take, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
And you can tell the connection between the two. But that's John Lennon. I'm the Eggman. And, well,
the man who should not be named.
I didn't put the record on.
Yeah.
And, of course, Russell Brand did a version of that, didn't he, at the close of the Olympics? Remember the Olympic closing ceremony?
He did do I'm the Walrus, didn't he?
Yeah, wore a top hat or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, look...
But you've discovered agoraphobia, haven't you?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. You know, I've told many people many times I've never eaten an egg in my life.
No.
I've never eaten an egg in any form. You know, poached egg, an egg sandwich. You know, I have difficulty eating cake that's got egg in it and all that kind of stuff.
Really, do you? I mean, how would you know, for example, if a bit of cake had some egg in it?
Well, you know...
I mean, do you think you're actually, allergic to it or something?
I just can't stand the taste of it. But you know the custard cakes. Is it called a custard?
Custard creams.
Custard creams.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like liquid egg, so I can't touch that.
Or custard tarts, maybe you're thinking of. The ones that are like with pastry and then the custard in the middle.
Yeah, and the stuff in the middle is very wobbly, right? That sort of thing. I mean, I can't eat things like that.
What about mayonnaise? That's got egg in it.
No, don't like mayonnaise. I mean, this is a problem I always used to have in America, where they wouldn't put butter on your sandwich. They always put mayonnaise on. Right. And I used to ask and say, no, you don't understand, I want butter, please. Yeah. And it'd take them half an hour to go and find a packet of butter in the fridge, and all that kind of stuff. I was a bit of a nuisance customer.
Well, that's a surprise.
But anyway, there you go.
No surprise to me.
The reason I'm telling you all this is that, you said that we did a few medical stories yesterday.
Yeah, we did loads of medical stories.
Yeah, that's because I was reading my medical journals over the weekend.
Yeah.
And what I found was a chap had sought help for having a terrible aversion to bananas.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't stand the smell of them. He didn't like the texture of them, either when they had the skin or when they had the skin off. He didn't like being at a dining table when other people ate like a banana, split.
I think that's just being self-indulgent, isn't it?
Well, no, because, and the answer was, how does this happen? He actually had a condition which was diagnosed as banana phobia.
Banana phobia.
Yeah, I mean, I know it
serious?
sounds. I am absolutely serious. I know it sounds like a joke, but banana phobia is an actual condition. Now it says it's a rare and a virtually unknown condition. It has its roots early on when a child may have either been forced to eat too many, or has had problems with the slipperiness of the banana skin, or the banana itself, or its peel. The word is not in the Oxford Dictionary, but it is in lists of phobias, and several people have been diagnosed as suffering from banana phobia.
Which nonsensical journal have you got this from?
From the medical journals that I read.
Which one is this from, then?
I don't know. I read them all. I think it might have been the New England Journal of Medical Science or something like that. I don't know why you're laughing.
Rubbish. Well,
at least I acquire knowledge.
Well, here's the clue.
What do? You spend your weekends drinking one white, one red, one rosé, right? And then a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, I've got some news for you on that.
And you think you're better than me?
On last Friday, when you were out and about, you met up with some guy who took a picture of you and he. He tweeted me today and said, "I have no idea why Porky Parry would take such exception to you drinking so much after I met him on Friday night." And he's posted a picture of you and he together.
Rubbish.
And if you're not careful, I'm going to repost it.
I don't think there is a picture of him.
Yeah, there is. There is.
And where would this have been, allegedly?
He met you somewhere on Friday night.
Well, I have no knowledge of that.
Right. Well, I'll see if I can find it for you.
Anyway, what I'm saying is the direct correlation to banana phobia is eggophobia.
Well, no, there's no word for that in the English language either.
There is. That is also in a list of phobias, which is medically recognised. And what's happened is, as a mite, which means a small child.
Yeah.
I have somehow come into contact with an egg which I didn't like the feel of, didn't like the taste of. I wasn't very well on the day my mother gave it me, or I didn't like the texture of it or something, but I became allergic to eggs. And this is the first explanation I've had in all my life, all my 5 decades, to explain why I have this revulsion to eggs.
Yeah, I think it's partly because of some disorder that you're suffering from.
Well, it's clearly explained now by the banana phobia.
Are you allergic to anything else? Is there anything else you can't eat?
No, I don't think so. I was very, very picky about foods when I was a child. For instance, I didn't have my first Chinese meal until I was about 23.
Really?
I didn't like Chinese food up till then.
Did you not?
I didn't like the look of it.
What changed your mind then?
A girlfriend who I had then said, "Oh, come on, Deputy Dick, everybody likes Chinese." I said, "Well, I've never had it." She couldn't believe me. She thought I was a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah, well, she
we
was
went to a Chinese restaurant. I didn't have an Indian meal until I was about 28.
Right.
I didn't like fish, as in fish and chips, until I was about 14.
Yeah.
So I did have an aversion to foods. I was very, very simple eater.
Yeah, well, your parents obviously made very simple food for you to eat. There's nothing wrong with that. But, that's what happened in those days,
Exactly.
It was like ration book time, wasn't it?
Well, it sort of was,
I found this picture, by the way. It looks like it's been taken just down the road from here. It looks like it was taken on the cab driver by the looks of him.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's wrong with that?
You remember that?
Yes, I do remember that, actually. The chap got out of his cab and came over and said hello.
Well, let me read you what he tweeted to me.
Oh, yeah?
After meeting Mike Parry on Friday night, how he has the temerity to talk about you being drunk is beyond me. # double standards.
Well,
so I don't know where you were on Friday, but, clearly you were at the worst for wear.
It's a bit of a betrayal, that, isn't it? To have your picture taken with somebody who's a loyal listener and then turns around and accuses you of being bladdered.
Well, no, because he's just defending me. Because, I mean, all you've been doing since yesterday is going ranting on and on about how much I had.
Picture. Clearly, I'm not intoxicated.
Well, I've just retweeted it so people can judge for themselves.
Okay, but I don't believe I look intoxicated there. And I think, once again, it's churlish of you to try and talk about it in those sort of ways.
Well, I'm simply retaliating.
I found a new way to get to sleep quickly.
Have you?
It's called whooshing.
Whooshing? Oh, is this in addition to banging your head on the pillow?
Well, A, you bang your head on the pillow, that gets you to sleep. B, you can stare at a spot on the ceiling.
Yeah,
right?
people have tried that. They found it very, very unsuccessful.
Oh, no,
One particular
it
guy tweeted and said he had tunnel vision.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it works for me. That works for me. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
But the third one's called whooshing, and what you actually do is you exhale very, very quickly in a whooshing noise like this. Right?
Why?
Well, because you do. You have to empty your lungs.
Right. Would you do this lying down or standing up?
You do it lying down.
Yeah.
So you're lying down.
It's not so easy to do if you're lying down, is it?
No, it's not. That's the whole idea, to get it all out your body. And you go, you get it out your body.
Really?
And then, hang on. Then you
breathe in through your nose?
Yes, you do. You breathe in through your nose, and then you hold your breath.
Right.
For as long as you can.
How long can you hold your breath for?
Oh, not long, 30 seconds or
Really?
something like that.
Is that
Yeah.
all?
Well,
You wouldn't be much good at swimming underwater, would you?
only 1/3 of my heart works.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure this is a good thing for you to try.
I have to feed it with oxygen as often as possible.
Yeah.
And you do that 2 or 3 times, you fall off to sleep immediately, because what you're doing is you're rebalancing the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your body, and that is the best sort of knockout drug, if you see what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And it works. It works because it's been tested.
How many times do you have to do this, though?
You maybe only 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And it works. But I'd like people to try it, and I'd like people to report back to the show tomorrow night, please, because the thing is, when I leave at 4, you can all go off to sleep.
Yeah.
So you can do the whooshing.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed.
Whoosh. Whoosh. But you have to give it the whooshing noise. It has to exercise your vocal cords.
If you don't want to do that at 5 o'clock in the morning, you might start waking up the neighbours. Now, a couple of corrections for you. Eddie has sent this in. He says, Saul of Taurus, was he born in May? It's Saul of Tarsus.
Yeah,
So you got that wrong.
I said that.
No, you said Saul of Taurus.
No, I didn't.
John says, I want to hear more details about these voices that Mike Parry hears in his head.
Well, we all do. We all get thoughts in our head, and a thought can be like a voice. Yes,
no,
we do.
We don't. I don't ever hear voices in my head.
It's actually Saul of Tarsus, Tarsus.
That's what I just told you.
No, you said Taurus, didn't you?
No, you said Taurus.
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, you said Saul of Taurus.
Anyway, I'm aware it is Saul of Tarsus. Got that right, thank you.
Peter says, it's unlikely to be a VHS resurgence, seeing as tape degrades badly over time.
Yeah, but you can get it sort of rebolstered, if you see what I mean. That's how they re-digitalise old film, isn't it? That's been getting done now for 20 years.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely nothing new in that. Nothing new at all.
James says, enjoyed yesterday's podcast about alcohol. Would you ever consider a drinking competition for Two Mics TV?
I think that would be very unwise.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're not in the business of encouraging people to imbibe beyond the safe and secure and healthy limits which doctors recommend, except for you, of course, on a Saturday night.
Now, there's quite a few on the Welsh National Anthem front. Will says, Land of My Fathers is the name of the anthem, but it's then in Welsh, it's Hen Flad Wai Llanadol.
Well, you told me quite distinctly, despite the fact that you were the editor...
I don't think it is Land of My Fathers.
Well, exactly.
Well, I don't think he's right.
A Welshman's just told us it's Land of My Fathers.
Well, you don't know if he's Welsh.
And you've just told... Well, he sounds Welsh to me if he's telling us what the Welsh National Anthem is.
Well, here's another one from
Derek. And you're
Derek.
telling us it's not.
Well, Derek the Jambo in Edinburgh
mad.
says, guys, Ray the Welsh National Anthem, the translation, strangely enough, is exactly the same as the Scots anthem, God Save the Queen. Glad to help.
Yes, that's true, technically, but then why and wherefore, when we play Wales, do they play one anthem, we play another? Because they want to be nationalistic about it.
Well, because they want to have... Well, because when there's, into what you call mural nationalistic stuff going on, they don't want to play the same national anthem, do they?
No, but
Scotland national anthem isn't really an official national anthem, is it?
No, of course it's not. Neither is the Welsh.
Neither is the Welsh one. But for sporting activity, they tend to play a different national anthem. Otherwise, it would sound ridiculous.
That's fine, but we don't get all nationalistic about it. We don't go around playing, Land of Hope and Glory or some song which is befitting the English. What would be...
Well, the England rugby team don't play God Save the Queen, do they?
No, they play Swing Low, don't they?
No, they play Jerusalem, don't they?
Jerusalem, yeah, they play a lot of songs like that. I see all these people when I went to Twickenham all sort of cradling like an imaginary baby and singing...
Well, the fans sing Swing Low. Yeah, that's the fans doing that.
Sweet paradise.
Sweet Chariot.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Waiting for to carry me home. I don't know where that came from,
Don't do the
by
rest of the actions, please.
No, that's right,
Even though we're on the radio.
I've no idea. I've no idea where that one came from.
Listen to this one from Kenny, who says, for the attention of Porky, the eruption of Santorini is widely believed to coincide with a tsunami which took place when Moses led the slaves across the Sea of Reeds on the Mediterranean coast, allowing them to escape the Egyptians. The Red Sea version was a mistranslation of the ancient Hebrew text.
Yes, really.
So there you go.
Well, I think I knew all that.
We've covered this before.
Yeah, we have, yeah. Yeah, I've got more information somebody just sent me on the trick that can help you drop off to sleep in 60 seconds.
Is that like your machine, by the way? I've got a picture here of the VHS and
yeah,
the
it's
DVD.
exactly the same as that.
Is that it?
Exactly the same.
Toshiba, is it? Was that who made it?
I'm not sure, actually. I didn't look. But it is exactly the same as that. And is that a conversion machine?
Well, Luke says you record the video onto the hard drive and then you put the blank DVD into the slot and you burn it from the hard drive.
Right, thank you. So
you've got a machine that does that?
I have got a machine that does that.
Well, you should do the whole lot of them then.
Yeah, so so will you apologise now for calling me a thickhead?
No, I won't apologise.
Yes, you should, because once again, you tried to make...
until you prove to me that you can do it, then I don't believe that's what you've got.
You tried to make a complete fool of me again in front of our millions of listeners. Right, what you do to get to sleep with the whooshing method, OK?
Yeah.
Exhale completely through the mouth while making the whoosh sound. Close your mouth and inhale through the nose while counting to 4.
Well, anything that encourages you to close the mouth is a good thing.
Hold your breath while counting to 7. I'm going to ignore that. Exhale completely for a count of 8, making the whooshing noise. So that's 4 seconds, 8 seconds. Repeat steps 2 to 4 a further 3 times, by which time you'll be asleep.
Really?
Okay.
All right, we'll see if you can do that for a moment, and if you pass out into...
Talk Sport, your Premier League station, with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mites. There will be a podcast out in about 5 or 6 hours' time. Hopefully it will be the correct one.
If you get it right.
Hopefully it will be the correct one. And we only usually make, if there is a mistake, it doesn't usually then happen for quite some time. So hopefully it will be fine.
We shouldn't make any mistakes. You know, we must pursue excellence in this place. Okay?
We do.
And I want to talk to you in a minute as well about the Colaccini situation at Newcastle.
Yeah, all right. Well, before we do that, did you see the story yesterday about Kay Burley? Do you know how you were telling us you've got like 3 Sky subscriptions, you've got, 3 televisions in each of your pads?
Yes.
She's got 11 televisions.
I know, amazing.
She's definitely a candidate for the first Mrs. Parry. She's the only person who would understand why you need so many TVs.
She's got 3 of them in her car.
Yeah.
She's got one as a fixed one, then she got like 2 tablets,
Presumably
I think.
that's when somebody else is driving it for her. You can't watch television in a car, can you?
Yes, you can, but you can't watch it when you're driving.
Well, that's what I mean. So why would you sit in your car and watch it?
Well, no, you don't. You can watch it when the car's stationary.
Well, no, you can't. Not if the engine's running.
No, if the engine's not running, you can watch it in your car.
Oh, yeah, but why would you?
Well, because you might want to pick up on some programme, that's why.
Yeah, but because why wouldn't you just get out of the car and go to wherever you are, in your office or your house, where you've got a TV?
Because you might be in a motorway service station.
Right, so you couldn't miss something on TV because you're in a motorway service station.
Yeah, exactly, because you want to see something. Now, when I test drove an XJ Jag, which I'm thinking of maybe, replacing...
Oh, was this recent?
Putting into the fleet.
Oh,
yeah, it was quite recent.
What do you mean, the fleet?
Yeah.
What, you've got this dodgy old Mercedes, like salesman's car?
No.
And you've got your clapped-up old Jaguar that you used to keep us spaced out at Portsmouth?
No.
What do you mean, the fleet?
Well, I'm just saying. What I was going to say is that when I was driving and I looked at the centre of the console, all I saw was a computer with all sorts of, things on it. And by the way...
That's where the sat-nav is, presumably.
Yeah, it's where the sat-nav... But not
just... in the Land Rover, the sat-nav's in a big square screen in the middle of the dashboard.
Yeah, but it's not just the sat-nav. Cars these days are so complicated. They have so many things in them.
Right.
But in America now, they say that up to 3,000 deaths a year on the roads are due to drivers being distracted by too many gadgets in their car.
I'm not surprised. The other thing I saw yesterday, which was interesting, is that the more gadgets you have in your car, the higher your insurance is likely to be. So if you've actually got a sat-nav, they will charge you more to insure your car on an annual basis because you've got that gadget.
Yeah, and not only that, people put their mobile phone into a coupler or whatever you call it, a cradle or something like that, and they're looking at that all the time and all that kind of stuff. But getting back to the old Jag, and you've got to be a pretty sophisticated car. As I'm driving like that, all I can see are all these gadgets on there. But the person in the passenger seat looks at the central console and sees a television set and watches the television.
Right.
And can tell you what's going on.
The person they're sitting next to is too boring to have a conversation with.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the old conversations that we used to have, though, isn't it, about gadgets and about mobile phones. And you can be just as distracted, I suppose, by having a conversation by somebody sitting in your passenger seat as you can by anything else.
By listening to the radio.
I told you about the time my ex-wife burned my leg with a lighter, do you remember?
Yes, you did,
living in New York.
That was very cruel indeed.
That was very distracting.
Not very nice.
It was incredibly painful, apart from anything else.
Yeah, not very nice at all.
No.
But why did we start talking about this? Because, I know I was going to
you're saying that cars that have got too much, too much gadgetry
can cause you all sorts of problems. So they should.
An accident.
But I mean, I was using the hands-free coming up from the coast at the weekend. When I went down to Bournemouth.
Well, there are some people who say you shouldn't even do that.
Well, I find it...
I mean, it hasn't become illegal yet.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right here, actually. I'm going to agree with you for once. The number of times I have missed my turning on the motorway because I'm talking to somebody on the hands-free. And it happens a lot to me, because if I come along the M27, when I've been to Gosport or Bournemouth, then you want to come off on either the M3 or the A3.
Right.
And I suddenly find myself in Brighton.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite Brighton,
but halfway,
far, but halfway there, you miss the turnings.
Well, there's no doubt that it does
and I think to myself, hang on, how did I miss that? And I do think to myself, supposing a car had pulled in front of me and I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. I do think there is a case to answer there, I agree.
Well, I think as well, I mean, I don't know how often you do it, but there was a time, certainly when I was working in newspapers, that whenever I was in the car, I was almost constantly on the phone, on the hands-free, because there was always somebody that was calling me. I mean, nowadays it doesn't happen very often, because I've managed to pretty much wipe all telephone calls out of my life, really, so people just don't ring me anymore, which is great. It's just the way I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Now, just another thing here on ethics, please.
Ethics?
And I mean, for instance,
Ethics? Are you going to ask me an ethical question?
I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
I want to know this. Have you put out a picture of a packet of the drugs I take to keep myself alive?
I have not, no.
I saw you take a picture.
I didn't take a picture.
You took a picture of this packet of digoxin.
No, I didn't.
I saw you take it.
I haven't taken a picture.
I saw
Do you want to search my phone? I haven't taken a picture.
I saw your phone light flash.
No, I had the light on from the phone so that I could read the small print on the box.
I think you took a picture. I think
It's
you're
very
putting
dark
it out.
in here. Well, I can show you my phone if you like.
I think you're trying to make out to people that I'm some sort of, a cripple that survives.
I'm not trying to make out anything at all.
Quantities of drugs.
No, I'm not trying to make out anything at all.
Don't you know that people's medical records are sacrosanct?
Well, you're the one who brought it in.
People aren't supposed to know about your medical histories.
Well, if you want me to put a picture of it out, I'm more than happy to do so. What I did put out was a picture of you meeting that nice taxi driver from the other night.
Well, he's good. He's a good chap.
And people have been reacting to it.
And saying what?
Suggesting that, maybe it does look as if you had a drink or two.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't. I was with a witness that night. I remember the moment it happened.
A witness?
And the witness can bear fruit or bear testimony, bear witness to the fact that I was in no way intoxicated. And that is something, of course, which I can prove.
Yes. Now, talking pictures, Pete has tweeted us at too much. He says, we keep hearing how Porky has had a successful sporting past. Can he take a picture and tweet it of the trophies in that cupboard?
No, I don't like boasting like that, do I? Do you know what I've done with some of my trophies? Because they're made of glass. I've taken them out of the cupboard and I've hidden them away in the cubbyhole.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm worried that during the summer, sun rays will come through the window, reflect off them and set fire to the place.
Yeah, well,
because that has happened.
You have got to worry about that kind of thing. But usually it's with a magnifying glass, isn't it?
No, it can be on a prism of glass, if you see what I mean. If it's a funny shaped piece of glass. And by the way, talking about cupboards and sideboards and all that kind of stuff where people store books. Have you ever read a Ruth Rendell book?
I don't think I ever have. I've seen a couple of Ruth Rendell mysteries on television.
She died at the weekend.
She did,
She was 85.
She did.
And she invented Inspector...
She wrote an incredible number of books, didn't she?
Apparently she wrote, no, not a huge lot, 60, I think.
Well, 60 is a lot of books to write. How many
not
books
in
have
a
you
lifetime,
written?
Not
3.
in a lifetime. Well, how many books have you written?
Well, I've written about 4.
No,
I
you
just haven't had any of them published.
No, of course you haven't had any of them published.
I've written about 4 of them.
Yeah, I've had bestsellers amongst the 6 books I've read.
You've had 3.
No, more.
Well, what are the 6 then?
Okay.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm not sure why we have to go through this. We've been through it before.
You just said you've written 6 books.
I have. There's an awful lot of bubbly in Brazil.
Yeah.
Both barrels from Brazil.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes, the complete...
Looney Tunes?
No, Rooney Tunes.
Looney Tunes, you said.
I said
you
Rooney
said
Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
I said Rooney Tunes.
Right.
The complete history of Wayne Rooney prior to the 2006 World Cup.
Yeah, that's 3.
A book on Wayne Rooney and Colleen, which was written when they first emerged.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen it?
Could he bring us a copy in?
Maybe.
I might like to read a few passages from it at the live show in Portsmouth.
I might be able to. I'll see if I've got a copy at home. And other books.
That's 4 books.
Yes,
you said you wrote 6.
I've written the complete history and life story of a Premier League footballer.
Oh, yeah?
Who pulled it after the 2010 World Cup because the England team performed so badly.
Oh, so that hasn't been published?
I'm afraid it hasn't.
Well, so that doesn't count then?
Of course it counts because it's the contract is still with the publisher. It could be published at
any
time.
So it's Ruth Rendell 60, Mike Parry 4.
No, 6. And a 6th book, which was a sort of compilation book I contributed to.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Forgive Us Our Trespasses.
Well, it's still not very impressive, is it?
I.e. in trespasses.
It's not very interesting.
Yeah, well, I've had more books published than you have.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I've always said to you many times, one of the reasons that I haven't had any of them published is I'm not that happy with them. You, on the other hand, will have any old drivel come out in a book
no.
because it suits your purpose.
So what you mean is you wrote a load of rubbish.
They didn't come up to my high standards. I'm still working on them.
Took it. Oh yeah, how long have you been working on them? 30 years.
Well, I think I started the first one actually when I got made redundant from the Daily Express, which was back in 1997 or 8. I think it was.
So that's over 20 years. Yeah, and of course they haven't been published because they're dross and trash.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, I do, because if they were worth anything, they'd have been published. You've taken them along to publishers, and publishers have laughed at them, used them
I took one of them to a publisher who called it very entertaining and a very interesting read. He said, but unfortunately, because he only had a small number of authors on his list that he represented, including Frederick Forsyth and Erica Jong, that I wasn't quite in that kind of area.
You don't think he took it home and used it to sort of put down on the floor while he was having new tiles laid or something like that?
No, what he actually said to me was, I'm sure if you take this to another agent, you will get it published, because it's very good.
And did you do that?
I never did, no.
No, because you knew it was rubbish.
Well, no, what ended up happening was that summer...
He was probably laughing at you while he said that.
That summer, I ended up helping a guy to build a patio in my house, and then I got another job. So I just didn't really have the time, to be honest.
Yeah, I see. So
I haven't had these large periods of resting that you've had in your career when you've always been fired and not had anything to do for about 6 months.
No, that's never happened to me.
Really?
Never happened to me. Believe me, I've been constant in my ability to keep busy in all forms of the industry called the media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, how about this from Davey in Canterbury?
You've never been a PR, for instance, you see, but I have. You've never been a PR.
I've never wanted to be a PR.
No, well, you know...
I don't like being the idea of being a PR. Have you seen the time, by the way? Look at the time.
I don't care about the time. You see, always about the time when you're running out of answers.
Not at all. I've never wanted to be a PR.
To be a properly rounded media... star, media executive, media talent. You have to have looked at every area of the business.
I consider PRs to be on the other side of the fence.
But I climbed over the fence to go and have a look to round off my knowledge.
You mean at the FA?
What it's all about. Maybe at the FA, maybe other places.
When you used to leak stories to all your mates in Fleet Street.
Maybe other places, yeah.
Look into the light for a moment. Ask Porky's coming up very soon. This is Talk Sport.
Look at the light! Whoa, me lads, you should have seen us gunning. Passing the folks along the road just as they were standing. All the lads and lasses there, all with smiling faces, gunning along the Scotswood Road to see the bleeding races.
Now, you won't hear many choruses of that going on at St James's Park at the moment, will you?
No.
Very miserable time they're having up there. Luckily, we'll be there to cheer them all up, though, soon, won't we?
Yeah, we certainly will. We're going up to the Tyne Theatre and Opera House.
Opera House.
She's right in the middle of the...
That doesn't mean you're going to sing,
the city there. Well, I may give it a rendition to the adoring crowds. And that will be on July 27, is it?
It is, yes.
No, it's not. July 18.
July 18.
July 18. July 18. Sorry, people. Saturday night, July 18. I'm afraid the box office isn't open yet because... administratively, we're still dealing with tickets for the theatres on the first part of the world tour.
Yeah, okay.
But we hope to open the box office for Newcastle on Friday.
Yes, okay. And so hopefully by then they will know, well, they will know by then, won't they, whether or not they've managed to survive relegation down to the Championship.
By the time we get there, yeah, of course they will. Yeah, I was going to say not by Friday.
Well, no, not by Friday.
No,
obviously.
Exactly. But look,
well, I don't know if you heard me talking to Robbie Elliott earlier, where he said, I'm sure they'll get the points to keep themselves in the Premier League. But when I asked him where they're going to get them from, he didn't seem very clear.
They've only got 35 points, and people don't realise...
Well, they're not going to beat West Brom, are they?
No, they're not going to beat West Brom. I'll tell you what I didn't realise, unless Aston Villa had beaten Everton last Saturday, and I was, it was only 3-2.
I meant to ask you about that game, because, it was a great result for Aston Villa.
Yeah, of course it was, and I was hopeful Everton would get at least a draw. If Everton had got a draw at Villa, take 2 points off Villa, Villa would have been on 33 points, and either below or just above the line.
Yeah.
So it's critical for Villa, who've got now the same points as Newcastle. Right. It's critical for Newcastle.
Exactly.
The thing is, QPR and Burnley are going to go down. That is absolutely...
I don't think there's any doubt about that. But QPR are playing Newcastle, funnily enough, on the 16th, game after West Brom.
That's right.
And they might just decide that we want to show them and beat them,
Yeah, I agree.
And the bottom line is now, Sunderland who've got a game in hand, if Sunderland, Hull and Leicester all win at the weekend and Newcastle don't, then Newcastle in the bottom three.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true. And I don't get this Colaccini guy. I used to think he was quite a good player. Fabrizio Colaccini has penned an emotional apology to long-suffering Newcastle fans and pleaded for unity. Club skipper Colaccini delivered a personal message to the Geordie faithful and insisted the rifts that have divided the club must stop until an end-of-season inquest. Right. Well, you're a player. you could have stopped the rift in the first place just by playing a bit better and putting a bit more effort in. And if you're the captain, should have led with greater authority.
Yes,
in my view.
Agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think Newcastle fans are probably not going to take to his his challenge to go to St James's Park and actually, make a lot of noise and get behind the team. Yeah. Why would they?
They feel the club has been so starved of resources that, indeed, why should they? Listen.
Now, you got a tweet a little bit earlier today. I just wanted to ask you about it.
Yes.
And it was a local hero sought to open new B&M at Chester Retail Park.
Oh, that's right.
And I think you responded that you maybe weren't available. But I'd never heard of this local discount chain, B&M.
Oh, they're amazing. They are.
This is a bit like Wilco's that I'd never heard of.
Yes, that's right. They're discount, as you say, retail stores, sell food and all that kind of stuff. But they're mushroomed in the north and they're spreading the south. A few years ago, I invested in a chain of off-licences called Bargain Booze.
A chain of off-licences?
Yes.
How
right.
appropriate.
Yes. Well, yes, it is really, I suppose.
How did they make out?
Very, very well.
Did they?
And Bargain Booze started in Stoke-on-Trent, and then they spread around the country, right? And then they got taken over by somebody else. But I mean, they started small.
So did you get bought out then?
Sort of, yeah. And this being now,
it's incredible the sort of web of financial chicanery that you're involved in, isn't it?
I'm not as dumb as I look.
No, well, that's just as well.
But thank you very much indeed. But what I was going to say about the B&M thing is. I mean, is Sir Terence Leahy the most brilliant businessman we've ever had in this country? Because
does he own that then?
No, he's chairman of it.
Oh, okay.
When he was the chief executive of Tesco, they were the most successful retailers in the world.
Ever since he's left, it's
gone completely downhill. And of course, all the people left behind said, "Oh well, he got out while the going was good." Well, of course he did, because he was running it. That's why the going was good.
Yeah.
And it only failed when other people took over. But he then, took all the payoffs and shares and whatever he was due from Tesco for the brilliant service he'd given them over nearly 30 years. And he accepted a position with the other company, B&M.
Right.
I think he took a shareholding in it and he was appointed chairman.
Right.
They're now doing brilliantly successful because they're a discount store. And like Lidl and Aldi, they're offering a different sort of service and approach to the retailer.
Oh, okay.
And Sir Terence Leahy, who, by the way, I wouldn't say he's a friend, that's overstating it, but I would certainly...
But he's a fellow Evertonian,
He's a fellow Evertonian. I've sat in the director's box with him. He's a big friend of Mr. Kenwright's. We're on nodding terms. We discuss football if I see him. And the most modest and what's the word I'm looking... sort of unspectacular man you could ever wish to meet in private in a boardroom of a football club.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a clue he was a retailing giant. Not a clue.
No, you wouldn't. Well, why don't you go to one of his shops then?
Well, I might if I was invited. Of course I would. That's no problem at all. But I do have great
you opened
admiration
that
for
pub, didn't you, the other week?
Sorry?
You opened that
I
pub
opened
the other
week. Yeah, that's flourishing. Flourishing it is, yeah.
Is it?
It's a huge success.
Excellent.
Now, I'm going to talk to you about another tycoon I'm going to talk to you about.
Yeah, go on.
That's Felix Dennis.
Oh, yes.
Now, Felix Dennis is quite well known to us because, of course, he was in the publishing business. We were involved in newspapers. He was involved in magazines.
Yes.
He was so successful, he rocked up a fortune of, like, hundreds of millions, literally.
Yeah.
He
died recently, didn't he?
Well, he died recently, and now the reason I'm talking to you about it is there's a big debate going on about what happens to his estate.
Yeah, lavish £10 million estate goes on sale.
£11 million, I think it is. I saw an estimate of. And the thing is, he didn't live in one house like most people do. He bought like a village in Warwickshire.
Right.
So it was a big manor house and about 10 cottages around it. His mates would come and stay and all that. But
he lived in a place called Dorsington, Warwickshire.
That's right. Yeah, he did. And but the details of the place he lives is fantastic. For instance, there's a door in the house which has gymnasium written on it, and you go in there, and in fact it's a bar. It's got high stools with bar and dispensers.
Right.
And
well, it's also apparently got some kind of pirate-themed play bar.
He has,
as well.
Which
there's a picture of.
Yeah, he has.
He's got a £500 million fortune.
£500 million fortune. He invented he founded and kept going things like Computer World, Computer Shopper, and the men's magazine Maxim.
Right.
When the men's magazine industry was at its absolute peak,
Right.
and once again sold out at the right time. He enjoyed his life enormously to such an extent where he
went to prison, didn't he, as well?
He went to prison very, very early on in his life, but not because he broke the law in terms of business or anything like that.
Was it a libel thing or something?
No, it was an obscenity thing. He was a member of
that's right, yeah.
He was a member of that group called Oz, who produced a magazine, the Oz magazine Obscenity Trial in 1971. Dennis went on from there to become a hugely successful magazine publisher. And he died last year, age 67. Now they don't know what to do with his estate. But the one
and he left the bulk of his fortune to look after a forest that he planted, supposedly.
He planted over 50,000 trees.
So you should have some kind of legacy like that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you like
of course
to have
I
a legacy
should.
like that?
Yeah, of course I should.
When you eventually do, succumb. You're just going to leave your money to a collection of people, probably. I mean, there's not going to be anybody to remember you by.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. We'll sort that out. But the one thing I really loved about this guy is he loved, really enjoyed his life. He enjoyed drink. He enjoyed the company of beautiful women. But unfortunately, he did get a bit excessive at one time. Became a crack cocaine addict. well.
Unfortunately,
it's a bit excessive. That's a byproduct of enjoying your life.
He's got a massive wine cellar as well, by the way.
Massive wine cellar, but this is the one I really love.
That's what I'd like to have, a massive wine cellar.
I love these people and their... For instance, he had access to 20 kitchens in his house.
Right.
Because he had about 3 or 4 in his big house, and then he could use any one of the other cottages he wanted when he wanted to just, get away and hide from people and all that kind of stuff.
There comes a point, I suppose, when you're that wealthy that you just don't know what else to do with it. I'll just build a steam room or a sauna or a swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly.
A pirate-themed barn.
He had a pirate-themed bar with a big swimming pool in it, with a pirate boat in it.
Yeah.
It was marvellous. But this is the one I really like. Here. The figure is bandied around at £500 million. Nobody knows quite how wealthy he was, but the lifestyle certainly was. He developed a crack cocaine habit. But this is the one I really like. He also owned 5 Rolls Royces, 2 Bentleys, and a couple of Mercedes Maybachs, the most expensive road car in the world. But
have you seen those things, by the way? They're really ugly.
Yeah, I know. I know. Very ugly bonnet.
They look very kind of, I wouldn't say cheap.
1950s.
Yeah, but they don't look expensive, do they?
But the punchline to this is he owned all these cars, but never bothered to learn how to drive.
So he just got driven around. Well, I suppose if you're a crack cocaine addict and
exactly.
all that, you don't really want to be driving cars, do you?
Might be a good idea not to drive.
Yeah, exactly.
But an extraordinary man. I so admire people who create fortunes like that, who are so successful.
Well, this is because you're a middle-class man of the people.
Live life on their own terms. I'm a middle-class man of the people. Nothing wrong with being a middle-class man of the people, mate, It's good. It's good for the world. But the reason why we need the middle class desperately, Mike, is because if you're working class, and I think I'm working class...
Yeah, because you go to work.
Yes. Right. You have to aspire to want to improve your life. And the aspirational target is the middle class. And then when you're middle class, as I believe I am now, although I'm working class, if you see what I mean, although I work, but I'm middle class, then you have to aspire to become upper class.
You can't become upper class.
I can.
How?
I'm going to become upper class.
How are you going to do that?
I'm going to consolidate my resources.
You can't just buy a string of polo ponies and a big mansion somewhere in
I don't want
Oxfordshire.
that. No, I'm going to fly around by helicopter all the time instead of using motorways.
Well, that doesn't make you upper class.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
It just makes you a plonker.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't. And I'm going to... do things like, for instance...
You see the time, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry about the time.
I am worried about it.
No, I'm thinking. Don't put pressure on me.
Well, think for a while. Then. Look into the light and think. And then when we come back, you can tell us what you're going to do. The car's coming out in about 6 hours' time. Hopefully it will be the right one. I'll do my absolute best to make sure that's the case. Now, we've had loads and loads, as ever. So thank you very much to everybody who's tweeted at the Two Mites with their questions for Ask Porky. We occasionally have to sort of take some of them out just because they ask questions which might be considered a little bit risque.
Yeah, don't any risque questions.
We don't want any
here.
risque because it's a family radio show, obviously. Yes. But we've got loads here, so we might as well just get on with it, right? The first one is from Rich, who says, what are the first 3 things Mr. Parry would do if he found himself on a deserted island with no hope of rescue?
Well, first of all, I'd find a source of water.
Yes.
Because without that, you couldn't live.
The island would be surrounded by it, wouldn't it?
No, yeah, but it's salt water. You can't drink salt water.
Right.
So, and by the way, in Hollywood now, they're thinking of building desalination plants. They've got no water.
Or desalination plants.
Desalination plants.
Yeah.
So first thing is I'd find water. Then, of course, I'd find food.
Yes.
How would I find food? Well,
forage.
Forage, maybe, but I don't like eating plants and all that in case they're poisonous. So I'd look for an animal like a wild boar. Right. And what I'd do is I would use the same tactic as Rambo in First Blood.
Oh, yeah.
I would fashion a spear out of a branch off a tree, and I would sit in that tree, and as the hog went past below me, I'd jump out of the tree and unfortunately spear the sad animal to death, and then learn how to skin it, and then
I'd have to make a fire to cook it.
Well, I'd rub 2 bits of flint together to get the fire. That's no problem, because if it was a desert island, probably it would be all very dry. Might set fire to the island, which could be a problem, but I would try not to. And the third thing, water, food. Third thing, I would devise a plan to get off that island.
Yeah.
That island wouldn't
make a raft.
Make a raft or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember The Prisoner, when the prisoner eventually made a raft and got off the island?
I do remember that,
And got himself back to Europe. That would be
Except
me.
he wasn't on an island, was he? He was in Port Merion.
Yeah, but I mean, in the show he was on an island,
Okay.
you know, the village.
Right.
You're in the village.
The only escapee in the village. Question number 2 from Becky.
Right.
Mike, I'm hopefully coming over to the UK later this year.
Right.
She lives in New Zealand, of course. What
Okay.
are the key things I must do and not miss?
The key things you must not miss in this country is our weather, which is brilliant. Okay, make sure you come in sort of autumn when the leaves
can hardly miss
are coming off the
if
trees.
you come here, you're not going to miss the weather, are you?
No, well, I want it to come at the right
weather's
time.
there.
I want it to come at the right time.
Oh, I see.
Okay, then of course you must use the English boozers, which are what are you laughing at?
Well, of course, drinking would have to be mentioned.
Yeah, which are very much like some New Zealand boozers, but of course they are the original ones down here. But we exported them around the world. And the third thing, of course, is a mixture of Coronation Street and fish and chips. Go and get your fish and chips, take them home, sit in front of the telly, and with fish and chips, watch Coronation Street. That will make you a perfect English person for the time you're here.
So what about all the great palaces? What about a visit to a Two Mike show?
Forget them.
What about some history? What about the Tower of London?
Forget it. You've got to queue up and do all that.
You're
you don't want
such
to do
a
all
Philistine,
that.
aren't you?
No, I'm not. It's just that those things, you do when you've got loads and loads of time. You come to this country, enjoy the things we all enjoy: drinking, eating, watching Coronation Street.
Becky, I'll give you some better ideas later on. Thank you very much
think
for that
not.
one. Here's one from Ian. It says, working as a builder on a roof garden job recently,
Yeah.
I stumbled upon a locked room one day. Curious as to what was inside, I broke in. What I saw appalled me. Should I report what I found or respect my client's privacy?
What I would do is I would get yourself arrested by the police for wrecking things, vandalising things, and responding.
Well, you know all about getting yourself arrested by the police.
Responding to the nonsense which old MG puts out. I do not have a locked room. I do have a roof garden. It's just been renovated. It looks absolutely splendid. I recommend everybody out there that one of your life's ambitions should be eventually to get yourselves a roof garden with loads of plants on it, with fantastic Italian tiling, with a water feature thing.
Water feature?
Water features.
Those are so annoying. I bet you let it run all night to annoy the neighbours.
No. You can switch it on and switch it off. So I've got.
Do you switch it off at night?
Yeah, I've got a little waterfall. Yes, of course I do.
Do you?
Little waterfall with a light over
I
it.
lived
and all
somewhere
that.
once, and the next door neighbours had a water feature which they left on all night.
No,
in the garden.
I wouldn't do that to annoy people. And that is my recommendation. Get yourself a roof garden.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. Chappie, he calls himself.
Chappie.
What key events in your life meant that becoming Prime Minister eluded you, or is there still time?
Becoming Prime Minister eluded me because I knew I could earn a lot more money by not being Prime Minister, and I prefer wealth to the false premise of power. The second reason why I never wanted to become Prime Minister is because you can't actually get anything done in this country. It's the civil service who does it. And the third reason I didn't want to become Prime Minister is because once you do, I'm afraid then you have lost all claims to privacy for the rest of your life. I value my privacy. I don't like going around bigging it up.
Oh, is that right? Okay, well, we'll try and bear that in mind. Peregrine says, should I ask my secretary out on a date?
Well, it depends what you mean by a date. If you want to entice your secretary into a close relationship, you might not need to go out on a date. A bit of dinner will do or something like that. But it's hardly a date, is it? You'd have to sort of romance it with chocolates and flowers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's awkward, isn't it? Because, you're automatically changing the dynamic of your relationship.
Well,
somebody works for you, you suddenly say, would you like to go out for dinner?
Yeah, my full answer to this is that I think romances with secretaries are good, but make sure it's not your secretary, make sure it's somebody else's. Right. And then you won't have the embarrassment of the early morning eyes meet eyes across a crowded workplace, if you see what I mean.
And you could also have the double benefit of getting secrets of one of perhaps your rivals in the organisation.
Definitely. Do it as JR did it. He went around romancing all the secretaries from all the other oil companies. That worked for him. JR was a great man. I based a lot of my life on him. Look where I got by being successful, by following JR.
Here's one on the sporting theme, actually,
yes.
And this is from Man City Army, is the tweet handle. If you had to stick your neck out, Mr. Parry, and make a bold prediction right now, who will win the Premier League next season?
That will be Chelsea. I think Chelsea will get even better next season. They're going to win it by about 9 points this season, aren't they? So
maybe even more.
Yeah, maybe even more. Yeah, I agree. And therefore it will be them next season. But the teams that will challenge next season. You see, Arsenal have been threatening in the second half of every season, the last 5 seasons, to go across the summer and maintain their second half season form at the start of the following season. They haven't done it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll do it again.
I don't
think
either.
they'll do it again.
I think it's going to take them a while to get back.
I think Manchester United's got 2 or 3 years to get back up there. The Manchester City, I think, are going to fall apart. I think Chelsea will run away with it next season.
I think you're probably right. And Jose Mourinho is going to be there till 2019, we found out
Yeah.
today. Here's one from Hoppy, who says, should I choose obesity as a way of life, or should I lose the extra timber I carry under my blue checked shirt?
Oh, there's only one answer to that. Obesity is misery. It's all very well stuffing food into your face and chocolate bars and pizzas and kebabs and all that, but it's a revolting and horrible way of life. Give up the food, take up exercise, have a few drinks, but walk to the pub instead of getting into your Motability scooter and driving there like some people I see these days. Obesity is trash.
How about you don't go to the pub at all? Maybe that'd be another answer. Here's one from Joey, who says, Bobby Gould didn't like me in the People's Pundit. In my notes, I said you were my idol. Do you think that was a coincidence?
I don't understand that question, I'm sorry.
Well, you know, the People's Pundits, this competition TalkSport's been running to try and get somebody to be, on the final day of the season, you get to be the pundit at the final game.
Right.
And various TalkSport presenters have taken people under their wings and they've had to choose, right? A bit
Lovely.
like the X Factor.
Yes.
This guy says that Bobby Gould was his mentor,
right?
But he didn't win. And he's saying, is it because he put you down as being his idol?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had, actually, but no, it's not. If you put me down as your idol, if you tell people I've influenced your life, if you let others know that you planned a lot of your life around the experience you've gained from the Porkmeister, Porky Parry, you will get on in life, believe me. It's a tragic accident that you didn't come out on top. But don't worry, because remember, it's try, and try again.
Yes, don't invite him to do anything ridiculous. Andrew says this. At the weekend, I had an invitation to a barbecue.
Right.
And I said no, and I told them they were all half-bakes. I've not spoken to them since, and they've not spoken to me. How do I restore good relations?
Don't bother. Why do you want to go out with people, or why do you want to associate with people who go to barbecues anyway? They are half-bakes. And it's not just the potatoes that'll be half-baked at those barbecues. It's people who stand around with warm wine, with flies dropping into your wine, with your food going cold because it's only half-cooked on the outside. It's not cooked on the inside, breaking your teeth on frozen chicken that hasn't been cooked properly. Don't go to barbecues, and don't associate with people who do. They're falsehoods.
And finally, here's one from Tom, who says, I have a job interview today for my manager's job. Any last-minute tips?
Be bold, be assertive, be in charge of the interview. Do not be a wilting flower. If you're a wilting flower, you're going to get kicked around for the rest of your life. You tell them what you want, OK? If they ask you a question, don't answer that question. Tell them something which is absolutely dynamic about yourself or your attitude to that job, and you'll get the job.
So you should just basically bowl them over with your confidence.
Bowl them over with your dynamism, your confidence, and your personality.
All right, I've got time for one final quick one from the Girl Wonder. She says, I've had a bad stomach recently, but crave something delish. Do I go for lean ham, fresh baguette with lashings of Kerrygold, or do I stick to pea ham and mince meat soup?
I'd have all three. I really would. I would feast yourself on that. Some soup to start off with to line your stomach, and then a lovely fresh baguette with lean ham, bit of cheese inside it, and as you say, Kerrygold butter. You can't lose.
Thank you very much indeed. Ask Porky,
yes.
That was another edition. There'll be one more, of course, same time next week.
Yes.
Coming up later on this week, of course, it's the election special, and we're going to have a quiz on British Prime Ministers, I think we decided yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, this is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Loads more coming up.
Ribéry down the left, chipping the ball to the far post. Muller is there, and he rises, he nods it home, and this is unbelievable. Bayern Munich have scored 3 in the camp now, and a changing of the guard is taking place.
Niniesta with a beautiful turn in the midfield, right to challenge of Cavani, skips over one from Verratti. Now he's got movement ahead of him from Neymar, and it's Neymar round the goalkeeper. A picture-book goal. Falls for Boateng. Deflected in. Bayern Munich score in the 90th minute.
They don't need to let Messi through, and that's what they've done. And Messi is approached with Joe Hart, and he's popped the ball over the top and into the back of the net. And Leo Messi has scored again. Now a shot from Alonso, and Xabi Alonso has made it 4.
Barcelona in possession here, in towards Suarez, went for a little flick at it, comes back to him, and he has scored! Rifles it into the bottom left-hand corner. Luis Suarez makes the most of the opportunity.
Götze picking the ball up, running diagonally from right to left to a Lewandowski edge of the D, takes the ball wide, and the goalkeeper goes past him, shoots, and it's slammed in. A wonderful goal.
Played back over the top by Dani Alves. Messi's onside, and Messi scores a goal of quality for Barcelona.
Now, I'm going to ask you about a prediction, even though it's technically not Ask Porky, but Barcelona against Bayern Munich tonight, because I didn't get your prediction for Juventus last night. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
No, it's a very, very tough one, that. I am going to plump for Bayern.
Are you? Because I think Barcelona are going to win it.
I'm going to plump for Bayern.
It's in the new camp.
On the basis that it's Pepe Guardiola, you know, and he knows everything about, for obvious reasons, he knows everything about Barcelona.
Well, he doesn't know everything about them. He doesn't know about Suarez, really, does he?
Well, yeah, but I think he knows about, their mindset, and he knows about, the influences upon them and the way the crowd react and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go for Bayern.
I think it's going to be 2-1 to Barcelona.
Right,
That's my suggestion.
Okay, I think it'll be a Bayern Real Madrid final.
Do you?
Yeah, because
really?
Juventus won't keep it up in the second leg.
Oh, I think they might do.
No, they won't. No,
I think they might do.
No.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's going to be a Barcelona against Juventus final.
Do you? No, I can't see that.
But we shall see. Dennis has tweeted at the two mics.
Dennis?
He says, Porky's plan. 1, catch a hog Rambo style. 2, start a fire. 3, pray for no inferno. 4, get off island.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, that's about basically it. Yes.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
John says, comparing himself to Rambo, I'm laughing so hard I can barely breathe.
What do you mean?
Well, obviously, you comparing yourself to Rambo,
Yeah,
jumping out of a tree with a spear.
Yeah, well, I've got the same sort of initiative as those sort of people. I mean, it would be very, very hard for me to not survive in a hostile environment because I am so resourceful.
Yeah. And here's one from Danny. He says, well, at least if Porky has his own helicopter, he won't be left in another country by his colleagues like that time in Dublin.
What do you mean? Why was I left
when
in
you
Dublin
were left,
on
you
my
were
own?
stranded in Ireland when you were working for the FA.
Oh, that's right. Of course I was. Yeah, I was. Yeah, my colleagues
You've forgotten it already.
No, I haven't. The chartered plane just took off, and I saw it rising into the sky. By the way, who said you are a very resourceful man, perhaps too resourceful?
That sounds like a Bond quote, doesn't
yes,
it?
it was. Yeah,
yeah. Was it Blofeld that said that?
No, it was Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
You are a very resourceful man, Mr. Bond, perhaps too resourceful.
Yes.
When he beat him at the golf, you know.
Oh yes,
because he got his caddy to stand on the wall.
Yeah,
that was at Stoke Park.
It was at Stoke Park.
That's where I played golf.
Is there any particular reason you've raised that at this moment in time?
Because I said I was resourceful enough to survive on a desert island.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
well, you're going to use your rat-like cunning.
I would use rat-like cunning, definitely, yeah. And I would outwit, if there were any natives there, I would outwit them.
Do you think you would?
Yeah, because I would sort of bamboozle them with the line of thinking in the modern world that they may not have come across. You see what I mean?
Now, what we haven't done much of this week is your love of animals, right? And I was noticing the other day that there was a piece I read that said that there weren't many hedgehogs around. Because you were telling me not that long ago that there was a big campaign that I sort of hesitate to use the word campaign just in case there's a siren that goes off, but that you were going to start some campaign to stop these plastic cups, lids from coffee cups.
It's not just those
getting stuck on hedgehogs' heads.
It's not just those. The hedgehog thing apparently is due to, because I have done some research on this. I'm glad you've raised it.
Yes,
it's apparently due to the massive expansion in numbers of badgers.
Oh yeah,
and badgers.
I've been seeing a lot of dead badgers on the roads.
Have
lately.
you? Yeah. Well, badgers either eat or kill hedgehogs for some unknown reason.
Well, it's called the food chain, I think.
Yeah, I think it is called the food chain. And you ask people in the who live in the country.
Yeah,
they used to see 2 or 3 hedgehogs.
I do live in the country.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, but you haven't always lived in the country. They used to see 2 or 3 hedgehogs a year, in their garden, all that kind of stuff. And now they don't see any.
Yeah.
But what they do see is a massive increase in badgers.
There is, yeah. And do you know why that is? Because the badger cull has never really worked.
No, well, I thought the badger cull was killed off.
Yeah.
Not to use a pun, but it was abandoned, wasn't it?
Well, they started it in certain parts of the country, and then there was such a sort of to-do about it, such a hoo-ha, that basically they didn't carry it out on a nationwide level.
But it was also massively expensive. Massively expensive. It was very difficult to pinpoint where the badgers were, because they're resourceful animals like me.
They are.
And
they're very big, actually, badgers.
Yeah,
as
they
well.
are. They're huge.
Have you ever hit one in a car? A friend of mine hit one in Wiltshire. Completely wrote the car off.
Really?
Yeah.
What sort of car was it?
Well, it was a regular car. I mean,
God.
It wasn't a particularly small car or a particularly, terrible car. It was just an ordinary car, but he hit it at quite high speed and it completely smashed the front of the car up.
Here, here's what I've just found on badgers, right? Because I did do some research on it. Right, people are being fed half-truths on the declining hedgehog numbers. This is according to a report I've just found.
Oh, yeah.
Small field farmers whose land is surrounded by hedgerows have been there since the late 1800s.
Yeah.
And up until 1986, had a very healthy, sustainable hedgehog population. By 2000, no hedgehogs were left on most of the farms in southern England. And in some cases, farmers report seeing only one hedgehog in the last 15 years.
Really?
The reason is badgers were released into places like Suffolk in 1985. From having no badgers, there is now thought to be a badger for every 20 acres in the southeast of England. Their arrival was marked by several years of finding hedgehog skins along field margins and woodland roads. We no longer see any, as the hedgehog population has been wiped out, though all the hedgerows and woodlands are still in place and have been restored.
And so what do the hedgehogs actually... I mean, what if hedgehogs all get completely wiped out? What will no longer happen? What part of the ecosystem will collapse?
Well, it says the badger population in 1970 was 40,000. This is a very interesting figure.
Yeah.
It is now 750,000
Really?
plus. It's 750,000, while the hedgehog population in 1970 was 5 million, is much less than 1 million today.
I think when I was up in Scotland, they tried to do a big hedgehog cull
Right.
on one of the islands because for some reason the hedgehogs were actually eating the eggs of all the young birds.
Right.
And because of the sort of
Right.
delicate nature of the ecosystem,
Yep.
they had to go and get rid of all the hedgehogs on this particular island.
Right.
Because otherwise the birds weren't actually going to survive. So, I mean, there's always one of these kind of decisions you have to make.
And what you've just said about seeing them on the road, there's actually a fact about it here. It says one statistic is that more than 50,000 badgers a year are now killed on the UK roads.
Wow.
That is more than the total population of badgers in this country 45 years ago. So that's amazing. Badgers have taken over and the poor little hedgehogs have been done in.
Yeah.
I wonder how you get to eat a hedgehog, because it's very prickly, isn't it? Obvious reasons.
Well,
you know?
why would you want to eat one?
Well, no, I wouldn't, but a badger would. I wouldn't want to eat a hedgehog.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, they probably sort of have a reasonable way of getting the skin off, so they don't actually hurt themselves.
Probably pound them to death with their paws or something like that. What happened to all these badgers that were spreading, like,
bovine tuberculosis?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was the reason they were trying to kill them all off.
That's what I mean.
Well,
the cows still got tuberculosis?
Well,
or
I
what?
don't know, actually. It's all gone very quiet on that front.
Yeah, it has,
It's not something we hear very much about. But,
No.
I mean, certainly the animal rights people said, look, this is no reason to kill badgers because there's no proof, actually, that badgers are the reason that bovine tuberculosis is being spread.
I think in this very studio we interviewed Brian May, the Queen guitarist.
Yes, we did.
About this very subject.
Yeah.
He was very
quite passionate about badgers.
Very, very passionate about badgers indeed. What a bright man he is, by the way. He went back to university after becoming one of the world's most successful rock stars.
Yeah.
And completed...
Is he not an astrophysicist?
I was going to say, completed his degree in astrophysics.
Yeah.
Or I think it's
Remarkable.
astrophysics.
Have you ever thought about going back to university to finish your degree?
Sometimes.
You can finish your degree in urban estate planning or whatever it's called.
Urban estate management.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't. If I went back to university now, I've got it all planned out, don't worry, I would relocate to the south coast on a permanent basis.
Oh, yeah.
Or permanent-ish.
Yes.
I'd still keep a...
What, you wouldn't come up to London anymore? Would you not miss the bright lights of the city?
Yeah, I probably would, and I'd keep an apartment in a mansion block around Victoria or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Near where the train comes in, and but I would study naval architecture and the history of the Royal Navy at Portsmouth University.
Would you?
Which is the world's top academic institution for that very subject.
Did that not used to be Portsmouth Polytechnic?
I don't know what it used to be.
I don't think it was an original university.
But it's Portsmouth University.
It's one of those ones that's been made into a university.
It's Portsmouth University, and as Portsmouth is the world's most famous naval port, and where Horatio Admiral Lord Nelson set sail from when he went and clobbered both the French and the Spanish in the same day at the Battle of Trafalgar, I would say it quite rightly holds the distinction as being the most historic naval port in the world, and so that's why you have based there.
I didn't ask you to make a speech. I asked you if you ever thought about going back to university.
I've just answered it. A university,
you're making a speech now.
A university that extols the virtues of the rule of the Royal Navy over 300 years, sustaining both the British Empire
Look at the time.
and the safety and security of these islands.
Yeah, I didn't ask you for a speech.
What?
How about this from
I
Ross?
thought you wanted a speech.
No, I didn't want a speech.
Oh, okay.
If I want a speech, I'll say, why don't you write a speech and read
well,
it out?
I don't have to write a
so
speech.
that nobody else can keep quiet.
It all tumbles out of my head.
Yeah, I know, that's the trouble. Ross from Cambridge says, Mr. Parry, Bayern to beat Barcelona, no chance. It's at the new camp. Bayern's injury list is Ribéry, Robin, Badstuber and possibly Lewandowski. Barcelona are on fire and have a fully fit squad. There's only one winner.
Yeah, well, I would agree. The facts would back up that claim, and it looks grim in terms of star players not being available to buy, and I still think they'll win.
Although, I mean, they did have that 7-0 victory, didn't they, over Barcelona a couple of years ago?
Yeah, well, it was a couple of years ago, but I just think that Barcelona's form has been so patchy there is a lack of consistency there, and I think Bayern take advantage of that.
Oh, and here's a good question from Marcus. He says, if Porky catches the hog Rambo style and then lights a fire, wouldn't he be having a barbecue? That's a great question.
No, I wouldn't. No, I would.
Because obviously only half-bakes have barbecues.
Yes, that's right. I would, first of all, before I did all that, I would have built myself a clay oven. Why are you laughing?
How would you build yourself a clay oven on a desert island?
Well, you find a bit of clay.
Well, there might not be any clay there.
Well, there would be. There'd be rocks and things. You know, I know how to do these
Well, you
things.
can make clay out of rocks now, can you?
Yeah, well, okay, if it wasn't...
like some kind of miracle of the 5,000.
If it wasn't a clay oven, it'd be a stone oven.
A stone oven?
But I'd line it inside with clay.
Would you?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
And Darren says, I've seen 5 hedgehogs already tonight on my milk round.
No.
That's what he says.
Where's his milk round?
Well, he didn't say where his milk round is.
Blimey, that's a bit...
I'll see if he's got any location. He
hasn't
got a location, I'm afraid.
There is this great hedgehog hospital somewhere. I think it's in Wiltshire or something called... Was it called Tiddlywinks or something?
Oh, Tiggy Winkles.
Tiggy Winkles, that's right, yeah. So, you know, you have to sort of send money to these people and make sure they look after all these little hedgehogs.
Apparently it's in Boston.
It's Boston, Lincolnshire.
Big Boston,
Lincolnshire. Didn't know that, yeah. That's a long way from
Matt says,
Wiltshire. Yeah.
Matt says, how would Porky cook a hedgehog? Would he boil it?
You probably would, actually.
Well, you boil everything.
I think you do.
Well, what are you having for breakfast today? Because you're off to your spot at the Savoy, aren't you, soon?
I might go for breakfast at the Savoy, yes, because
that's where all middle-class men of the people go, right?
Well, yes, quite a lot of them do. You know,
how much do you pay for breakfast there?
I think it's about... For what I have, I think it's about like £17.50 or something.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's not really.
Well, you just go to the cafe around the corner.
Well, they're not always open when I want them to be open. No, I'm not a snob, no. I just believe that if one has endeavoured, as I have, throughout one's life, then one deserves to enjoy the benefits and rewards of that crushingly hard-working existence.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much indeed.
Right? Yeah.
Well, sadly, we've come to the end of the Two Mics for today, but you'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Porky Vision. You want to give us a flavour of one of the shows you're going to watch? What about that Haunting of Enfield? Have you watched that?
No.
That looks very scary
Haunting
to
of
me.
Enfield? No.
Yeah, it's been on Sky this week.
Oh, is that with Timothy, what's his name?
That's right, Timothy Spall, yeah.
Poltergeist and all that? No, I don't like those.
It looks very frightening.
I can't sleep when they're on. I get nightmares, so I don't want to know about it.
Why don't you just do that whoosh thing?
Well, I could do the whoosh thing, but I still might get nightmares in the middle of the night, you know. Not interested.
Well, that's generally when you get nightmares, isn't it?
It's true, it is, yeah. No, there's a few surprises up my sleeve for Porky Vision. Don't worry about that.
That's what we like.
Yep.
I'm not worried about it. Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
Anyway, so I thought, well, hang on, I can't walk out now because it says I owe £1.45.
Oh, of course you can.
No, even though I don't.
Yeah.
So I then went to try and find somebody literally who understood the problem, and there was nobody in there.
No.
There were a lot of people in there stacking shelves.
So not somebody like behind a till? Or
no,
something?
nobody behind a till. There was no supervisor. I don't know whether he'd gone for his break or something or whatever, but there were only people stacking shelves who either didn't know about the problem, didn't want to know about the problem, or didn't speak good enough
You're
English.
like a walking disaster zone,
No, I'm not.
aren't you?
No, I'm not. So anyway... So I then get my loaf and I think, I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to leave this store. CCTV will pick me up. There will be £1.45 on the machine.
You've only got one loaf and you've got a receipt for one loaf.
Well, that's why I kept the receipt, because I'm smarter than the average bear.
Right.
And I thought, if I'm just...
There you go. There's your receipt in the bin.
That's marvellous.
They'll be coming for you now.
That's really...
You'll have no evidence.
Oh, I mean, that's really friendly, isn't it? Eh? When you're lying in bed sometimes, you know, you hear voices yourself advising you... What? Why are you always bursting into laughter?
Because nobody hears voices in their head.
Of course they do.
Unless they're a bit, a bit mad.
Don't be ridiculous, you do.
You hear voices in your head every night, do you?
Listen, it's not necessarily a voice, but sometimes I'm in bed and suddenly, oof, I leap out of bed and I think that's the answer, eureka, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like hearing a voice, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've never heard any voices in my head.